Trent Green. Good morning, Trent.
Hey, Diego. Good morning. How are you doing?
I'm doing well, man. Thanks so much for joining us. And in the AFC South, the Jacksonville Jaguars are at the top. The Tennessee Titans are right there as well. When you handicap the final 4 or 5 weeks of this season, who do you think will come out on top and win that division?
I think it's all going to come down to Week 17. Tennessee and Jacksonville play each other that week, and I think I think that's what it's ultimately going to come down to. I think when you look at it from a schedule standpoint, Tennessee has Houston this week, then they go to Arizona. They got San Francisco. They do have to play the L.A. Rams at home, though, before finishing up with Jacksonville. So it's important that they get these wins the next 3 weeks, get themselves to 10-4, and then go into that Rams game and the Jacksonville game with everything on the line. So I'm excited to see it. It's Tennessee has won 5 of the last 6. They haven't always been pretty. They're finding ways to win close games. Marcus Mariota has had some struggles recently, but they're finding ways to win. And I think we all are pretty aware with what Jacksonville's doing and how good their defense is playing. And Bortles has had some inconsistencies this season, but when times have been there for him, he's been able to make the plays, and obviously having a good running game around him. And like I said, that defense. So I'm excited to see how this thing. It's kind of been a Houston, Indianapolis dominated division for quite some time. So Tennessee and Jacksonville makes it interesting.
Titans and Jaguars are both 7-4 right now. Titans have a tiebreaker at the moment over the Jaguars, 3-1 in the division. Jaguars are 2-1. Obviously, they have a game in hand. So with the Eli Manning situation, I was covering the Kansas City Chiefs when you were coming to the end of your career in Kansas City as well. And it was a very highly charged environment. A lot of Chiefs fans didn't want to see you go. A lot of people within the organization, teammates that you had, were upset because they thought maybe you were being given the runaround. Eventually, you left and you went to the Miami Dolphins. So I'm sure you have some relationship to what has happened in New York this week with Eli Manning. How difficult is it when you've sweat and teared and played and gutted out so many games for a team, and then they're basically saying, you know what, we've got to go in a different direction?
It is. It's a difficult thing. I think it's just human nature. None of us as people want to be told that, we're not good enough, or we don't have you in our plans, or we're going to move in a different direction. That's just not a good conversation to have. And I do. I feel for Eli. I think the fact that he's been there his whole career, obviously the accomplishments that he's done with the Giants speak for themselves. It's been pretty special. The career that he has. I know he's taken some criticism for his body language and facial expressions and those kinds of things. I think people like having fun at that, but what you can't argue is he's a pro. He prepares every week. His teammates have been very complimentary in recent days about what kind of teammate he is, what kind of leader he is. And yeah, something's going to happen. If he wants to play, if he wants to continue playing, there are going to be opportunities for him because it's a quarterback needy league, and someone's going to give him a chance. It's just bad when it ends the way that it has. The season has been over a long time for the Giants. And the fact that now they're gonna look to the future and see what that future may hold. It's never a good time or a good conversation to have when you're that player.
Was there a better way for the Giants to handle this, and if so, what do you think it was?
Oh, I think probably the only way that would make it better would be to just let him ride out the season, and then afterwards say, hey, if we're going to go a different direction, go a different direction. To bench him in the middle of the season with the type of season that they're having, I don't know. I think there's different ways you can handle it. Obviously, McAdoo's on the hot seat. Whether or not, I have a hard time believing this was completely 100% his decision. I think there's got to be some other motivators that are going on there. So, it's never good timing.
Trent Green joins us, the NFL on CBS. The Green Bay Packers are probably wondering whether they should have put Aaron Rodgers on IR. When you hear broken collarbone, you think, well, yeah, you're going to be out for most of the season. But right now, Clay Matthews is saying, you know what, I'm looking at Aaron Rodgers throw the football pretty well, and we need him back right now. What do you think? Can Aaron Rodgers come back at the end of the season and maybe make a difference for the Packers in the playoff race?
I think he can come back. I think the collarbone is one of those deals that obviously medically you have to decide. I know he's talked about the number of screws and stuff that he has in there that stabilized it. They have to determine if the bone has healed enough to where it can take a hit and take a hit similar to what he did before when someone's landing on top of you and that's just the nature of playing the position. Whether or not they're still in the mix, it's going to be hard. The NFC is pretty stacked up. The game tonight between Dallas and Washington, I think whoever loses that is out. So the winner of that gets to 6-6, and that doesn't even mean they're in the mix. That just means they have a chance to be in the mix because of how strong, the NFC South is with New Orleans, Carolina, and Atlanta. And then you look at the Rams and Seattle. There's a long way to go to kind of work your way back, and then Detroit's right on the verge there at 6-5. So, it's if Green Bay gets the win, and they can suddenly be a part of that conversation. Then I guess you have to very very seriously consider it because Aaron Rodgers. If you get a chance to get him back and you still got a chance, I think you got to take it.
Your old team, the Kansas City Chiefs, really struggling right now offensively. They were so good early in the season. Alex Smith was so good creating big plays, and they just can't seem to figure it out right now, losing 5 of their last 6 games. How can the Chiefs fix this in the final 5 weeks?
Well, I think first off, they got to get the run game going. Kareem Hunt, even though he's still second in the league in rushing, it's not because of recent games. The offensive line has to play better. They need to create more running lanes. They're getting to a point now where defenses are like, okay, as long as we can stop Tyreek Hill from getting that big dynamic play, the big touchdown plays, let's let Travis Kelce get his 7-8 catches, 100 yards, whatever it may be. But it's not an Antonio Brown or Julio Jones kind of thing, just because the speed's not there. It's different, right? So you're focused on, okay, take away the big play threat. You got rid of Macklin at the beginning of the year. Chris Conley got hurt, so now you got DeMarcus Robinson and Albert Wilson, and you're trying to piece together what the rest of the offense is going to be, and then struggles with the offensive line. They've had injuries on the interior part of the offensive line. I mean, we can go on and on about some of the issues, and Alex isn't playing as well. You start off 5-0, and Kareem Hunt's playing the way he is, and Alex is throwing the ball downfield, and I'm not going to shy away from the fact. After 5 weeks, I think he was the front runner for the MVP. It would be hard pressed to, even though Tom was playing the way he was, the fact that Kansas City went in there and beat New England in the opener, and Alex hadn't thrown an interception in 5 games. It was his, and now all of a sudden, no running game. The pass protection's gotten worse. The down the field throws have gone away. Now it's more to the dink and dunk. So they've got to get that fixed. They've got to get back on track. I think some of it is just confidence and attitude, and defensively they need to create some turnovers. They haven't been doing a lot of that lately. Getting them field position, that was really the formula they had a year ago. So there's a number of different areas they need to address.
Trent Green joins us. Final question about tonight's game, Washington and Dallas. From a Dak Prescott perspective, this is a young man that was great last year. Now he loses his left tackle. He loses his running back at Ezekiel Elliott, and people are saying he got exposed. Do you think it's fair to grade Dak Prescott when he's missing those pieces right now and not playing well?
Oh, I think it's always fair to grade it, at any point in time. It's, but that's why football is the ultimate team game, because, you hear it all the time. You need all 11 guys. And yes, a quarterback can cover up some deficiencies, and sometimes the other positions cover up the deficiencies you have at quarterback. And I think Dak Prescott is a great quarterback. I think he has a great and incredible future ahead of him. It just shows you the balance that they need to have. With Ezekiel Elliott, the last time they played Washington, he had 150 yards rushing. Dallas was able to win that by 15 points. They, you get the play action pass, all those things. So since Elliott's been out, Dallas is 0-3. Dak has no touchdown passes, 5 interceptions. there has to be balance there. I mean, because right now there's not that threat. Smith missed those 2 games, as you mentioned. He was back last week, but it's still, having that big play back is a difference maker, because now teams, instead of going, 8 in the box or safeties down low or rolling corners or whatever it may be to affect the run game, now all of a sudden, those one-on-ones you're getting on the outside, now you've got cover 2, cover 4, cover 6, you got roll coverages, you got different things that are affecting the passing game as well. So all that goes into play.
Trent Green, analyst, NFL on CBS. On the call on Sunday, Texans take on the Titans. Tennessee looking to stay atop the AFC South. The Jaguars. You can also catch him Mondays throughout the season. NFL Monday QB on CBS Sports Network. Trent, always fun catching up, buddy. Thanks so much.
All right, DA, good talking to you.
You too. Trent Green, Pro Bowl quarterback, joining us here on the show.